And today we're going to talk about that old or new fish finder or depth sounder sonar you may have. This is an old fish finder, but this will apply to the new ones too. Sometimes the ports on your fish finder can be tricky, so I just take some paint or nail polish and put T for my transducer, P for the power. Just makes it a little easier when you connect your cords. I use a portable transducer with a suction cup. You can firmly affix them if you have a standard rig, but I put mine as I go, and I just use that suction cup. Just suck it right on the back of the boat. Now if you first get your fish finder, you just turn it on and it should give you a menu. And if you're just getting started and you're new, leave it on the automated mode, and you can survey the bottom of wherever you're fishing. It gives you a really nice read on what's going on. I don't trust the fish. I do trust the bottom. I know we got weeds, a little bit of sediment, and some rockiness, a little bit of hard bottom below those weeds. Now those are showing up as fish. Those could just be the top of weeds and whatnot. If you just got your fish finder, get familiar with it. I like to look at the bottom. You can see we're coming over. That is could be a wall, but it's definitely some kind of could be bait fish, but probably a rock. Well, I don't know. Could be anything. But the automated mode will give you a good survey of the bottom. And I'm using the finder today. It's my underwater eyes. I use it all different ways, but today I'm going to use it as my eyes. Now your sensitivity on your finder, your fish finder, wherever it may be, is I will turn it up until I start to see kind of disturbance on the screen, and then that looks good. So I'll turn it up till I just start to see disturbance. If I get too much, then I'll bring it down. But you want as high as of a sensitivity as you can get. You can see our disturbance on the top, broadened on the bottom, and then we're getting like these little dots. And you can turn all the way up. If you get a band, that would be your THERMOCLINE. But that seems like it might be okay the way it is. So the sensitivity, I like to keep it as high as I possibly can. That is definitely something in the water. Moved up. That band is probably something sitting there. You can see the band shifted. Could be a weed just kind of floating. But that is a little bit about sensitivity on your finder. That line going down was my lure, so I'm going to take a few cranks up. Those lines there could be fish. But you can see that line. Oh, that line was a fish coming up to my bait right there. So I'm going to bring it back down to the broader band. You may have to raise your sensitivity to see your lure. And that's accomplished by going through your menu items. And there's your sensitivity. If we raise it, we'll get a thicker band. When we have relatively low distortion, and again, if I start getting all kinds of dots on the screen like you're starting to see now, that's about the verge of peakness. So I'll just keep that. I'll lower that for now. That's how sensitivity, you might have to raise your sensitivity to see your lure. That was a fish shooting up. And that is my lure right there. See, I put my rod down, bring it up, there it goes. See that line coming up? It kind of went past it. There's something above me, something coming up to me. Your fish finder might have a plotter mode. This is great to use. Mine has a band on the side and it prints the screen on the left. Basically, your activity are going to be those bars on the right. Your finder may just show that band. This is like an old-fashioned sounder, how they would work. But this is throwing out a picture to the left. But you can look to your right and you'll see where that activity is. And that's the depth where you want to be. Where you see that nice band, that's where the bait is laying. So when I'm using the fish finder, especially while I'm trolling, I'll troll with some speed if I don't see anything that I like. Anything I like, it could be the bottom, you know, big rocks, maybe trees or brush, bait, or fish lashes. That's what I'm looking for. When I see that, I know my lines are out, and I'll slow down and back up. So I'm just looking now. There's just a little something on that bottom. You know, you don't really know what it is. You can see there is something there. There's some suspension. So those, there could be something going on down there. I'm looking for when that finder kind of hits a drop. There is something going on down there. So what I'll do is I'll slow up and my baits will kind of drop down to where I'm at, or I'll drift slow over it. And I'm looking at that bottom. So right now it's kind of open. There's no real big activity, which is what I am looking for. Big activity. That's what you're looking for. You can see the screen line going down. That's me. But you see those lines going back and forth, up and down? Those are active fish. So that's what I'm looking for. And that thick band, that's bait fish. It could be a mix. No telling. No telling really. It's just a bunch of gray and black lines. That looks great down there. That's like a big rocky bottom. It's dropping out, which means that it's probably like a, I feel it with my sinker, solid bottom. It's a big mound or something. So it could be anything down there. Now in conjunction with visual aids, your rod tip will indicate the type of bottom you have. You notice the rod tip is bouncing. That's probably a rocky bottom, an irregular rocky bottom, which is great fishing structure. We got him. Wow, he's going. It's a fair one. Little guy. Oh, it's a yellow. There could have been a big schooly yellow perch down there. Which means that those thick bands, maybe that'll attract a big old pickerel. Let me get this straight down. You see a big band down there? Looks like they kind of came together. Oh wow, those are some good marks there. Let me get the other line down. Those are smaller fish. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look like there was 5 there, 4 moved, 1 remained. There they are. Those are some good marks. Little slashy, I like that. All kinds of stuff going on. The lines aren't really on the bottom. Kind of can drop it back down. Now it's on the bottom. That one's kind of in the middle. Should be going over those marks now. Maybe we'll pick something up. That's a good mark. That's an active moving fish. Bottom here, 3 fish, 4 fish, all moving too. I just passed a nice mound and I probably shot forward 50 feet from it. In order to get back to where I was, I'll look at my wake of the boat and you can see those bubbles. So I will just back into those bubbles and see if I can get back over where that mound was. Could have been bait, thick bait, and that was what I was seeing. So there it is. So I'll follow the wake of my boat to back up into where I was, what I was looking at on the finder. This is about where we were. Oh, that is interesting. And there's my structure that I was backing up into. Definitely getting some interesting marks. Send the other guy down. There's definitely some nice fish in there. There's a big mark in there. It's a big one on the top, and then there's about 3 bands smaller. That's a good fish on top. I like to see those bands kind of shoot up and down. That's when you got active fish. Oh yeah, we got it. Wow. My God. It's a big fish. I think he's the biggest one yet. I just want to see him. It's coming up. Definitely got to be one of those big pickerel. Wow. He's even bigger. Whoa, my gosh. Got my other line out. Wow, that's a big pickerel. Wow, wow, that was a big fish. And that is suspending bait. That's good. A big thick band. There's something on the bottom. That was a fish on the bottom, big band of bait. Move the boat a little. I'm looking around with 30 foot. Drop off. The line should be going through him now. That's a big thick band there. There's a gray line in there. Gray line means it's solid. Could be a giant fish. Who knows? If you're following a contour line, I like to look at the depth. Right now I'm in 20 feet of water. There's a drop between 20 and 15 feet. So I will follow that 17-foot line. Right now I'm on the 20, and I'll tell you why in just a second. That rod tip there is bouncing because that's a good rocky bottom. So I'm going to get back in. You can see it dropped off to 25 feet. I'm going to get back in until I hit that 17, 18-foot line. It's taking longer than I thought. So it's a gradual drop on the deeper end. So now I'm moving in. We should just see that drop down. It's quick. There we go. We have 19, 18, 17. So if I know I'm on that 17, see it drops down quick to 16. I'm always going to be along that drop. Now I'm in 15, so I'll work my way back to the 17 zone. And I'll follow that 17-foot basic line. What that means is that 17-foot contour, like these lines in the boat, if I was looking for the map, it's the one in the middle. So the edges, it's going to be deep, it's going to be shallow. If I follow that 17, I'm always going to be between the two. Now I'm back in the 25. But you can see what I mean. Well, I'm fishing the channel today, and I know I'm in the channel by looking at I'm in the deepest point of the water here, just about. So I marked some fish, and I made 2 markers. I got a clear in here. Behind me, I made note of a tree. Now I want to get to the edge of the channel using my fish finder and landmarks. So I made a landmark east, and I made a landmark west. Then I'll follow my fish finder, and right now I'm in 33 feet of water, and it drops out a little more going towards there. You can see we are dropping off now, so I want to get into about 25 feet, and that is the ledge of the channel. There's a flat behind me, the channel's in front of me, and now I'll set the anchor. I've seen a nice piece of structure. I had a double hang up. If I wasn't drifted through, I wouldn't be hung up. I had a couple fish through this piece of structure. What it is, I'm not sure yet. I think it might be a tree down there with some rocks. So it's somewhere right in here. You can see this stuff suspended off the bottom. That arc is a fish with something underneath it. Over there, I'll show you. That looks like a fish. That stuff's suspending, more suspension. So there's definitely something going on down there. But I saw kind of bumpy waves down there. There's definitely something good. So I might take a look a little. I'm gonna maybe drop. There we go. That's what I'm looking at. You see, we went from 17 and I'm going out into 6 feet, 16. Could be the side of a wall. Could be just a rocky mound. That looks great. That looks great. That gray line, you see the gray? That gray there, that solid bottom. It's kind of double ridged. So I'm gonna go a little further out. I'm gonna see what it does out here. Go back through it and back in. And we'll hold it. We could be right on top of it if there's something out there. There's the drop here. Sharp drop here, actually. So maybe breeze is coming the other way. Still rocky bottom there. Something on off the bottom over there. You can see that little line. That line here. That stuff's suspended. Now that is thick bait. That bait is so thick down there. I can feel it hitting my line. You see that gray band in the middle? I'm getting some good readings down there. Gotta put a hook on that one. Sometimes that's a big mark there. You'll find the shade of the boat and go under it. He might have ran down following my lure. See that little line? That's me. That thicker line, that's a fish. I think he's seen that and came down for it. I got to tie on a hook. So. And that line there, if you watch, that is my bait. Making those arcs. You may have to raise your sensitivity to get that effect. And that will let you see exactly where you are in the water column. And we got one. Well, we had one. That big band there, that could be, there's a slash, it's a fish moving up. That slash down, it's a fish moving down. I did have a bite. There's my band. Oh, wait. There's my lure. There's something below me. If you're looking for the THERMOCLINE, turn up your transducer as much as you can to still have clear and a distorted signal. your thermocline may show as either a band or a thick band on the bottom. If you're curious as to why that thick band forms, it's because colder water is denser than warmer water.